Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. Back on the phone now, and I just wanted to talk. Well, there's only two things I really wanted to talk about. First was about the Supreme Court decision, which shocked me, because previously I'd mentioned the Brexit thing and the stymieing of Parliament and it going through the Supreme Court, and I was expecting, because it was in London and close to the government, that they were in their pockets and they would definitely rule in favour of the government, whereas lo and behold it was exactly the opposite. It was a unanimous decision by 11 judges that it was unlawful. I was quite shocked really, that and now Parliament is sitting today, shortly, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of calls for Boris Johnson to resign. I mean, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, who's in the position. They're all party to the same games, whether they're socialist or conservative, whatever their persuasion is, they're all of the same ilk. They may alter little things here and there that make the smallest amount of difference. They're not going to solve the real issues that people, that the way the system is can't allow that, because it will always have people at different values. That's how our system works. We do value, even though we try to talk about how everyone's equal. I know the United Nations has it and the Bible has it, and lots of people believe that, and even in schools I'm sure we teach that to our children, that we're all equal. Obviously there's the famous maxim by George Orwell, everyone, all animals are equal. Was it all animals are equal? Oh, why can't I remember it now? It was in my head for a second. Oh, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And that's exactly how it is. It's a hypocritical statement that we profess, but the actual system, the way it's set up, the way, even from school, like I've talked recently about grading, and the way that through life we all have different economies, whether it comes to money, based on our forefathers, as it were. And there's even a Labour government who claims to be socialist and caring for the people, they're not going to rip the system up, are they? I mean, that's what they'd have to be able to do to make everyone equal again. I mean, that verges into the realms of communism. But yeah, it's never going to happen. And then the other thing I want to talk about was listening to Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Dale was talking about character assassinations, as it were, and people attacking the personality rather than the content. And it's very difficult. I mean, the thing is, I guess as humans we're used to attacking each other. I don't know whether it's intrinsic or whether it's something we're taught. Probably something we're taught. Probably also to do with what I was talking about before, how we have different values for each other. We don't, that leads us to be able to criticize each other. And I know it's quite difficult sometimes, to do it, to not do it, to just be objective rather than subjective. But I know recently I've listened to a lot less of YouTube, because I just find there's too much of that. I mean, obviously each person is different. I've never liked confrontation and stuff like that. I don't like arguments. I don't mind standing up for things. I don't mind shouting for things, but I don't like the arguments and when people are devaluing each other. I was listening to recently, which is what Dale actually was talking about as well. I caught the end of Jamie Brown's new channel, Vegan Realist, where he's now moved over Real Conversations over to that. I think that's the end of that now. And it was Dali was on there, and a few other people, including P. Mars, and there was basically just at the end, I don't know if my comment went through because Jamie finished it just abruptly. I was telling Dali, I won't bother, you're wasting your time here. But there was another comment I mentioned previously, that because the way they were talking to him, the usual put down, the tone, the words that are used, that people do when they want to devalue you or make you look stupid. There was a lot of that going on there, and I can't remember what I said. Something about, it's interesting how people treat other people, something like that. And I assume maybe that's why Jamie did close at the end, because it was just getting stupid. And I don't know why. Well, I know why people can't do it, because people want their agendas. So when they can't, they don't have maybe the capacity to argue nicely, they then fall back to the easy attacking people or ridiculing them. And they can do it very subtly, by the tone of your voice, by the certain words you choose, which words you pick up. If someone makes a mistake with a word or something, you illustrate it. There's no common decency. And so it is frustrating now listening to a lot of this stuff on YouTube, where that's what a lot of it's about. Whether it's the Mr. Cheswick versus Celtic 67, I thought those were two on the same page. There's a lot of that, and obviously there's Dow versus John Smith Global. There's lots of these things that make it a bit of a turn off to listening to YouTube, and I fear for those people that maybe are looking for truth or flat earth or whatever. I know I felt it at the beginning that it's difficult to find a place where there isn't that kind of needless arguments. It's okay to have arguments, but it's when people are just putting other people down for having different views, and I don't know, maybe the people in charge of the shows don't moderate it enough, but then that goes into the idea of, well, free speech and stuff like that. But it is annoying sometimes when you just want to go on YouTube to hear new information and hear people intellectually debating important things, with common decency to fellow human beings. Whether you have a different opinion or not, I don't care what your opinion is. I'm going to treat you like I'd expect you to treat me. And I don't understand why that is so difficult for both sides. It's not just, say Globers or whatever. It is both sides seem to have that failing. And I guess that goes back to how we've all been taught, either by government, state, school, media, or parents. Anyway, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.